Hello, everybody, and welcome to Uproot Reddit. Can we all agree that no matter the pet, be it dogs or cats or even lizards, animals are like family to us? We treat them with so much respect and love because they're just so darn cute. Even the way they act can make our hearts melt. This makes us want to take care of them, feed them, and give them all the love and attention they deserve. So, when someone decides to ruin that and tries to disrespect any animal, an uprising and backlash occurs. Yes, there are some people out there that really don't care about animals the same way that we do. Take, for example, Reddit user Overstuffed Cheese. They have kittens they tend to that are super adorable. At least, they think so. But that one person just has to up and ruin the cute and adorable moment by allowing their kid to harm the kittens. In today's post, male Karen wants me to let his child step on kittens. To all the cat lovers out there, get your pitchforks and torches ready. I was at a restaurant earlier today, and little kittens kept approaching me and other customers because they were used to being given food there. Anyway, I noticed a child who kept chasing the kittens and trying to step on their tails. Yeah, you heard it right. I told him to leave them alone. He did for 5 whole minutes. Then he went back to stepping on them. I told him again to stop what he was doing and leave the cats alone. A few minutes later, I look to my side and see the man on the table next to me looking at me and talking agitatedly. I look behind me, but there's no one, so I point to myself and raise my eyebrows as in, "Are you talking to me, man?" He nods and says, "Yes, you. Who are you to talk to my child that way?" That's when I see the kid from earlier talking in his ear. And guess what? Cool. Well, your child was stepping on kittens. He was doing nothing. Your child was stepping on kittens, and I told him to stop so that they don't scratch him. They indeed scratched him. Fair enough. You shouldn't have yelled at my son. Your son shouldn't step on kittens. Raise them correctly before you start teaching other people's children how to behave. Anyway, the man and his 9 children, I assume there were 9 kids with him anyway, kept glaring at me until they left. So screw you, male Karen. You and your kids can watch me feed little adorable kittens and give them pets while you enjoy your scratches and cold hearts. I hope that child knows how to run for their life. I can already see all the cat lovers ready to raid this family's house. But in all seriousness, this is not the way to parent. Teaching a kid that it's okay to step on innocent animals is just asking for that kid to get involved with trouble they didn't see coming. Bullying pets can not only cause an uproar with the community, it can also get that kid into massive trouble with the legal department if they continue to harm and abuse animals for fun just because the dad doesn't see an issue with stepping on kittens' tails. Sometimes the biggest bully may not be a kid. Sometimes parents can reinforce bullying behavior by being bullies themselves. Like what happened to Reddit user Fennec Foxy's son. Now, it's one thing for another kid to bully another kid. Everybody knows this. But a parent bullying a kid? That kind of thing is just crossing some legal territory. So, how did Fennec Foxy help their son? Let's find out. In today's post, Karen, who's a 40-ish female, stalked my son, who is 11. 11 people. If you think these kind of bullies don't exist, then let this story prove you wrong. I just found this sub, and this is just the craziest story from right before school shut down before coronavirus that I wanted to share. Basically, there was a little girl in my son's class, 5th graders, 11 years old, who would say my son was bullying her. At first, we believed the teachers and her and would discipline him at home. But his story was always consistent that he wasn't doing it. And then he started gathering witnesses who confirmed that he was not bullying her, and there were never people corroborating her stories. The stories also just frankly didn't sound like him or anything he'd do. Kids also said she was bullying him and other kids by pushing them. We also learned that she had put a love note, quote unquote, in his backpack, and he didn't even notice it and left it crumpled there for months without being addressed. It was right around the time she sent it that the accusations of bullying started. Now, this can't be a form of flirting and or teasing, because if it is, it's really terrible. Now, you would think that this story would end with just a few calls to the principal and parents, but it did not. The girl's mom started showing up at school to stalk and or stare at my son during breakfast, lunch, and at dismissal. She also tried to get him kicked out of a sport. Coach said he has never seen bullying, and if so, he will deal with it. And the mom sent letters to other kids' parents saying that my kid was a bully and they shouldn't let their kids play with him. And she would spread the same thing by word of mouth. I felt completely overwhelmed because I work and did not have the ability or relationships with other families to correct this craziness. I also tried talking to the Karen mom directly, but she denied that her daughter could possibly make the bullying up, saying, "That is not how I raised her." She also denied stalking my son, that would be crazy, and read the letter that was sent to the other parents to me and acted like it was totally normal for her to do that. Then, one day, she brought along her much older son to breakfast who physically attacked my kid. When the principal told her that this situation had gotten out of hand and she couldn't bring her older son to school to intimidate students, she declared that she was going to start homeschooling her child. She should have just done that in the first place. This was the Friday before school let out for spring break, and by the following week, we were at distance learning. So in a way, that was actually the case for everyone for the rest of the school year. My son is starting a new school tomorrow, around middle school, and he keeps asking if any other moms will do that again, and if I will ever go to school for lunch to make sure no moms stalk him. I keep thinking about this situation like, what in the world? And here's an update from Fennec Foxy, quote, "Wow, I was not expecting my crazy story to get so much attention. Thank you for the advice and supportive words. I especially feel so sad to hear from others who have had similar experiences in school. No kid deserves to be bullied, let alone by an adult." To answer a few things that keep coming up in the comments. Yes, my son is in therapy. In fact, he had been seeing a therapist with a therapy dog weekly a year prior to any of this happening. So he worked with her the entire time on this and still talks to her and her dog once a week. Though since COVID, it has been video calls. A lot of people say I should contact a lawyer or press charges for the stalking. The tag is addressed below. I am a lawyer, and in all of my communications with the mom and the school, I used all the magic words to let them know I was serious and cited statutes. I also filed a formal complaint with the school that was well documented. I also consulted with several friends from law school, one who works in education law and one who handles restraining orders/stalking. But sadly, in Texas, there is no way a complaint like this would be taken seriously. Even though this is completely bananas, the level of harassment they want to see is quite high because the judges are very sensitive to violating anyone's rights with a restraining order or prison. It is a huge burden, especially for domestic violence victims, to prove, which is unfortunate. Similarly, the legal burden is also high for a defamation claim. So legal remedies would almost certainly be a waste of time, but I did threaten her, which didn't seem to deter the behavior at all. It is unfortunate because when people make your life so difficult and act so unhinged, you want to know there are remedies, but the legal system is not really set up to deal with this kind of thing. While my son was physically attacked, he was not beat up or injured. I explained this in the comments, but basically the older child, about 14 and in 8th grade, got in his face, cornered him to the point where the older boy was spitting on my son when he talked, and used his body to intimidate him while making comments like he was small and needs to stop messing with his sister. He was pointing at him and towering over him, but not punching or anything. My son diffused the situation about as well as can be imagined by backing up and putting his hands up and making a funny face like, wow, this guy is nuts, which made all the children watching laugh. Again, this is not something our local police would bother with, even though it should not have happened and is very concerning. Now, if it happens again, that would be a different story given the history. But hopefully, now that he's starting a new school, we won't ever have to deal with this family again. And I'm guessing Texas is just not the place for lawyers, nor for dealing with legal matters. That mom could be insisting predatory behavior into her kids by stalking this boy, who was wrongfully bullied by the bratty drama queen who really should have been sent to the principal's office. And even then, it may not be enough to stop that kind of behavior, if that behavior persists within the family. I guess no matter the age, bullies can ruin anybody or any kitten's day. How long they do that? Well, that's a whole other story for another day. And with that, that's all the time we have for today. But we'll be back for more not so level-headed parents posts right here on Uproot Reddit. And we'll see you all next time. Stay safe out there, everybody.